The British royals have posed for a new formal photograph. Of course, your eye is drawn to the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton. You notice there, she's the only splash of color in this picture. But take a close look at her tiara.
At first glance, it looked like another carefully choreographed royal event, the kind of glittering state occasion Buckingham Palace has staged for generations. Yet behind the diamonds, the diplomatic smiles, and the centuries-old traditions, a very different conversation was quietly unfolding. Because while most viewers were focused on who attended, royal watchers were asking a far more intriguing question. Why had one particular piece of royal jewelry suddenly become the center of intense speculation, and what did it reveal about the future direction of the monarchy? To understand why the story captured so much attention, it is important to remember that within the royal family, symbolism often carries just as much weight as words. A speech can be analyzed for days. A public appearance can generate headlines around the world, but sometimes a single photograph becomes the most powerful statement of all. That reality has surrounded Catherine, Princess of Wales, for many years, particularly as Prince William, the future king, continues to move closer toward the responsibilities that will eventually define the next era of the monarchy. When royal observers examine official photographs, state banquets, diplomatic receptions, and major ceremonial events, they are rarely looking only at fashion. Instead, they are searching for signals. They are looking for indications of hierarchy, influence, trust, and institutional support. That is precisely why discussions surrounding royal jewels often generate far more attention than outsiders might expect. These pieces are not merely decorative objects. They are connected to history, continuity, and in some cases, the legacy of monarchs whose influence shaped entire generations. And that brings us directly to Catherine, Princess of Wales. Over the last decade, Catherine has undergone one of the most remarkable transformations in modern royal history. When Kate Middleton first entered royal life, many commentators questioned whether Catherine could successfully adapt to the extraordinary pressures that accompany life inside the monarchy. Every public appearance was scrutinized. Every gesture was interpreted. Every decision was examined through an almost impossible standard. Yet years later, the conversation looks very different. Today, Catherine, Princess of Wales, is frequently viewed as one of the monarchy's most valuable assets. Polling, public engagements, charitable initiatives, and international appearances have consistently reinforced an image of stability, professionalism, and reliability. For many supporters of the royal family, Catherine represents continuity. For others, Catherine represents modernization without abandoning tradition. Either way, Catherine's role has become increasingly significant. But this growing prominence has inevitably created another question. As Catherine's influence rises, what does that mean for other senior figures within the institution? That question has fueled years of speculation among royal commentators, particularly when discussions involve Queen Camilla. Ever since Queen Camilla formally assumed a more prominent position alongside King Charles III, public debate has continued regarding her place within the wider royal narrative. Although Queen Camilla now occupies one of the most important positions in the monarchy, public perceptions have often been shaped by decades of history, controversy, and competing interpretations. As a result, observers frequently analyze even the smallest interactions between Queen Camilla and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Was a particular seating arrangement meaningful? Did a public appearance reveal anything about internal dynamics? Why was one royal positioned more prominently than another? And perhaps most importantly, who represents the future image of the monarchy? Those questions became especially relevant as preparations reportedly intensified for a major state occasion attended by international dignitaries and watched by audiences around the world. Such events are never casual gatherings. Every detail is planned months in advance. Every guest placement, every ceremonial sequence, and every visual element is reviewed repeatedly because Buckingham Palace understands that international perception matters. For that reason, attention naturally turned toward the jewels expected to appear during the event. Among royal enthusiasts, certain tiaras occupy an almost mythical status. They are associated with iconic moments, historic reigns, and beloved members of the royal family. Whenever one of these pieces appears publicly, discussion immediately follows. Who was chosen to wear it? Why was that particular selection made? And what message intentional or otherwise, might the choice communicate? According to various reports and widespread speculation circulating among royal commentators, discussions surrounding one particularly significant tiara generated unusual levels of interest behind palace walls. Some observers believe the decision could reflect deeper institutional preferences. Others argue that people were reading far too much into a simple wardrobe selection. Yet the debate continued to grow, and the reason was simple. If Catherine, Princess of Wales, appeared wearing a jewel closely associated with royal continuity and legacy, many would interpret that moment as a visual endorsement of Catherine's future role. Whether fair or unfair, symbolism has always mattered within the monarchy. But another layer of intrigue soon emerged. Reports began circulating that not everyone allegedly viewed the situation through the same lens. Questions surfaced regarding competing expectations, differing priorities, and the enormous pressure created by an event where every camera lens in the world would be focused on the royal family. Suddenly, what began as a discussion about jewelry was becoming a conversation about influence, perception, and the future image of the monarchy itself. And as the date of the state occasion drew closer, palace watchers began noticing something else entirely. The real story might not be about who ultimately wore the tiara. The real story might be about why so many people believed the decision mattered in the first place. Before the evening could even begin, a new development would emerge that transformed palace speculation into something much larger, raising fresh questions about trust, symbolism, and the delicate balance of power inside one of the world's most closely watched institutions. If those early reports were accurate, what happened next would change the entire conversation. If the first phase of the story centered on symbolism, the second phase revolved around something even more fascinating: perception. Because within Buckingham Palace, perception is not merely a public relations concern. Perception can shape headlines, influence public confidence, and quietly determine which narratives gain momentum long before any official statement is ever released. As anticipation surrounding the state occasion continued to build, royal commentators increasingly focused on a question that extended far beyond jewelry. Why had the possibility of Catherine, Princess of Wales, wearing a historically significant royal piece generated such intense discussion in the first place? After all, royal jewels appear regularly at major events. Yet this situation felt different, and seasoned palace observers quickly recognized why. The answer lay in timing. King Charles III was continuing to define the early years of his reign. Prince William, the future king, was assuming greater visibility. Catherine, Princess of Wales, was becoming increasingly central to the public image of the monarchy. At the same time, the institution itself was navigating a period of extraordinary transition unlike anything witnessed since the final decades of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. And whenever a monarchy enters a transitional era, symbolism suddenly becomes amplified. What might once have been viewed as a simple ceremonial choice begins carrying deeper significance. What appears routine can become a signal. What seems insignificant can suddenly dominate international headlines. But here is where the story becomes even more interesting. Several royal analysts began suggesting that the debate surrounding Catherine, Princess of Wales, reflected a much larger conversation taking place both inside and outside royal circles. The real question was not whether Catherine would wear a particular tiara. The real question was whether Catherine had quietly become the monarchy's most important public figure after Prince William. Think about that for a moment. If an institution built on hierarchy, tradition, and continuity increasingly finds itself relying on the popularity and credibility of one individual, what does that reveal about the future direction of that institution? Many observers believe Catherine, Princess of Wales, occupies precisely that position today. Over the years, Kate Middleton has developed a reputation for consistency during periods when consistency has often been difficult to maintain. While controversy surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle generated global headlines, while debates surrounding modernization continued to divide commentators, and while King Charles III faced the enormous challenge of succeeding Queen Elizabeth II, Catherine largely remained associated with stability. That reputation was not built overnight. It emerged through thousands of engagements, countless public appearances, and years of disciplined public service. Unlike celebrity culture, where visibility alone often creates influence, royal influence depends heavily upon trust. Trust cannot be manufactured quickly. Trust must be accumulated gradually. And according to many royal commentators, Catherine has accumulated an enormous reserve of public trust. Yet trust can also create unexpected complications. Because when one figure becomes exceptionally popular, comparisons inevitably follow. Royal watchers began asking whether Queen Camilla faced a unique challenge. Not necessarily because of personal rivalry, but because public attention naturally gravitates toward figures perceived as representing the future rather than the present. History offers many examples of this phenomenon. Future monarchs frequently attract fascination because they embody possibility. Future queens often generate intense interest because audiences imagine what the next chapter might look like. In that environment, Catherine, Princess of Wales, occupies a uniquely powerful position. And that raises another intriguing question. Is public influence inside a modern monarchy determined by title alone, or is it increasingly determined by public connection? The answer may be far more complicated than many people realize. As discussions intensified, another factor quietly entered the conversation. Behind palace walls, experienced royal advisors understand that state occasions are not simply ceremonial gatherings. They are global showcases. Every photograph is distributed internationally. Every image becomes part of the historical record. Every visual moment contributes to how the royal family is perceived around the world. For that reason, preparation for major diplomatic events often involves extraordinary levels of planning. Clothing selections are reviewed. Seating arrangements are reviewed. Arrival sequences are reviewed. Photographic angles are reviewed. Nothing is left entirely to chance. That reality only increased speculation surrounding Catherine, Princess of Wales, and the symbolic significance attached to the evening. If Catherine appeared prominently throughout the event, many observers believed it would reinforce existing perceptions about Catherine's growing importance within the institution. But then another question began circulating among commentators. What if the discussion itself had become the story? Sometimes the most revealing aspect of royal coverage is not what actually happens. Sometimes the most revealing aspect is what people expect to happen. Expectations often expose public attitudes more clearly than reality ever could. And public expectations surrounding Catherine, Princess of Wales, had reached remarkable levels. Supporters viewed Catherine as a future queen-in-waiting. Critics questioned whether expectations had become unrealistic. Others argued that excessive attention placed unfair pressure on Catherine and Prince William. Yet regardless of perspective, one conclusion seemed unavoidable. The spotlight was becoming brighter, much brighter. As the hours leading up to the event continued to disappear, palace attention reportedly shifted from ceremonial preparation toward a series of unexpected developments that few royal observers had anticipated. What had begun as a discussion about symbolism was gradually transforming into a discussion about trust, access, and information. And if those reports were accurate, the next stage of the story would introduce a question far more significant than who stood in front of the cameras. Because someone appeared to know far more about palace preparations than outside observers should have known. And that development would soon raise entirely new concerns about what was really happening behind the scenes. Before we continue, if you enjoy in-depth analysis of Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, King Charles III, Queen Camilla, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Buckingham Palace, and the future of the royal family, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because in the next section, attention shifts away from public appearances and toward the growing mystery surrounding palace information, private discussions, and a series of developments that left royal watchers wondering whether this was ever truly about a tiara at all, or whether it was actually about power. By the time royal observers believed they understood the significance of a tiara discussion, another layer of the story began to emerge, and this new development shifted attention away from symbolism and towards something considerably more intriguing. Because while public conversations focused on Catherine, Princess of Wales, Queen Camilla, and the visual messaging surrounding a major state occasion, a growing number of commentators began asking a different question altogether. How had so many details about what was supposedly an internal palace matter become the subject of widespread speculation before the event had even begun? That question may sound simple, but within royal circles, it carries enormous significance. Buckingham Palace has spent generations perfecting the management of information. Palace officials understand that narratives often shape public perception long before facts become available. For that reason, information surrounding major royal events is typically controlled with extraordinary care. Yet in this case, rumors appeared to be spreading faster than usual, and that immediately attracted attention among experienced royal correspondents. Some royal commentators suggested that the growing speculation reflected nothing more than public fascination with Catherine, Princess of Wales. Others argued that the intense interest surrounding Prince William, the future king, naturally elevated every story connected to Catherine. However, a third interpretation soon emerged, and this interpretation was perhaps the most interesting of all. What if the widespread discussion itself revealed deeper anxieties about the future of the monarchy? After all, King Charles III remains the reigning monarch. Queen Camilla holds an important constitutional position. Yet whenever major royal stories dominate international headlines, public attention frequently gravitates toward Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Why does that continue to happen? And what does that reveal about the monarchy's next chapter? Those questions became increasingly difficult to ignore. Over the last several years, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, have gradually become the central figures in many discussions about the future of the royal family. While King Charles III represents continuity with the institution's past, Prince William represents continuity with its future. That distinction matters because monarchies survive through successful transitions from one generation to the next. History demonstrates that every royal generation eventually faces a defining test. For Queen Elizabeth II, that test involved guiding the institution through decades of enormous social change. For King Charles III, the challenge involves preserving stability while adapting to a rapidly changing media environment. But for Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, the challenge may be entirely different. The challenge may involve convincing future generations that the monarchy remains relevant in the modern era. And that is precisely why every symbolic moment attracts so much attention. Yet something else was happening beneath the surface. As discussions intensified, some royal watchers began revisiting the broader relationships that have shaped royal coverage in recent years. No modern discussion about public perception within the royal family can completely avoid mentioning Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Although Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were not directly connected to the reported events surrounding the state occasion, the wider context remained impossible to ignore. The departure of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle fundamentally altered how many people viewed the institution. For supporters of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Sussex story highlighted structural challenges within royal life. For supporters of the monarchy, the situation demonstrated the extraordinary pressures associated with public duty and institutional responsibility. Regardless of perspective, one outcome became undeniable. Public interest in royal relationships increased dramatically. Every interaction became meaningful. Every appearance became symbolic. Every perceived shift generated speculation. And within that environment, even routine decisions could quickly acquire significance far beyond their original intention. Have you noticed how often modern royal stories become less about events themselves and more about what people believe those events represent? That pattern may be one of the most important clues in understanding this entire situation. Because while countless headlines focused on personalities, many palace observers believe the royal story involved competing visions of the monarchy's future image. Should the institution prioritize tradition above all else? Should modernization become a greater focus? Should public popularity influence visibility within the royal family? Or should hierarchy remain the defining principle regardless of public opinion? Those debates have existed for years, but they appeared especially relevant as Catherine, Princess of Wales, continued to receive increasing attention. At the same time, Prince William appeared increasingly comfortable embracing a more visible leadership role. International engagements, charitable initiatives, environmental projects, and diplomatic responsibilities all contributed to the perception that Prince William was steadily preparing for the future responsibilities of kingship. And that preparation did not go unnoticed. Royal commentators began describing Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, as the monarchy's most important long-term investment. Whether one agrees with that assessment or not, the observation itself revealed how many people were already thinking beyond the present reign. But just as these discussions gained momentum, reports suggested that concerns inside palace circles were becoming more complex than anyone initially realized. Because information was continuing to move, rumors were continuing to spread, questions were multiplying faster than answers, and some observers began wondering whether the growing speculation surrounding the event had become impossible to contain. If that was true, another challenge suddenly emerged. What happens when perception begins shaping reality rather than merely reflecting it? That question would soon become impossible for Buckingham Palace to ignore. And as the highly anticipated event moved closer, a series of developments reportedly forced senior figures to confront an uncomfortable possibility. The greatest threat to royal stability was not necessarily conflict itself, but the public belief that conflict existed. Before we continue, if you enjoy thoughtful analysis of Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, King Charles III, Queen Camilla, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and the future of the royal family, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because in the next section, the focus shifts from speculation and perception to the extraordinary pressure surrounding the event itself, where every camera, every photograph, and every public appearance suddenly carried far greater significance than anyone expected. As the day of the highly anticipated state occasion finally arrived, something remarkable happened. The discussion was no longer confined to royal enthusiasts, constitutional commentators, or dedicated palace correspondents. What had started as a niche conversation about symbolism, succession, and royal presentation was now attracting broader public attention, and that shift created a new challenge for Buckingham Palace. Because once a royal story escapes the boundaries of specialist analysis and enters the mainstream conversation, expectations begin to take on a life of their own. By this stage, Catherine, Princess of Wales, was already carrying enormous public interest on her shoulders. Every appearance by Kate Middleton was being examined through multiple lenses simultaneously. Some observers viewed Catherine, Princess of Wales, as the embodiment of continuity. Others saw Catherine as the face of a more modern monarchy. Still others focused on Catherine's growing international popularity and wondered whether that popularity had become one of the institution's greatest strategic assets. But there was another question quietly emerging beneath the surface. Could any individual royal remain unaffected by the weight of such expectations? After all, history shows that public admiration can be both a blessing and a burden. The more symbolic importance people assign to a royal figure, the greater the pressure placed upon every public appearance, every speech, and every decision. Catherine, Princess of Wales, was not simply attending a diplomatic event. Whether fair or not, many observers were treating Catherine as a representation of the monarchy's future direction. And that reality dramatically raised the stakes. What would happen if the evening unfolded perfectly? What would happen if something unexpected occurred? And perhaps most importantly, what would happen if public perception failed to match palace planning? Those questions became increasingly relevant as international media organizations prepared extensive coverage of the event. Around the world, photographers positioned themselves for the arrival sequence. Television networks assembled special broadcasts. Newspapers prepared front-page coverage. Digital publications monitored every development in real time. The occasion was no longer just a royal gathering. It had become a global media event. And in situations like these, visual moments often matter more than official statements. A single image can dominate headlines for days. A single photograph can shape public interpretation. A single expression can generate thousands of competing theories. Royal households understand this better than almost anyone. That understanding helps explain why Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace devote extraordinary attention to presentation during major state functions. Nothing is left entirely to chance because appearances frequently become part of the historical record. Yet this is where the story takes another fascinating turn. Despite all the speculation surrounding Catherine, Princess of Wales, many experienced royal observers noted something that often goes unnoticed. Catherine rarely appears eager to become the center of the story itself. Throughout years of public service, Catherine has generally focused attention on charitable causes, official responsibilities, and institutional objectives rather than personal promotion. That distinction matters because some commentators argue that Catherine's popularity is not primarily driven by visibility. Instead, Catherine's popularity may stem from restraint. In an era where public figures often compete aggressively for attention, Catherine, Princess of Wales, frequently projects a very different image. The Princess of Wales often appears measured, disciplined, and cautious about overshadowing the purpose of official engagements. Could that restraint be one of the reasons Catherine continues to connect with audiences? Many royal watchers believe the answer is yes. At the same time, Prince William, the future king, appeared increasingly aware of the broader significance of the moment. Prince William has spent years preparing for eventual kingship, but preparation for leadership involves more than constitutional knowledge. Leadership also involves understanding public expectations and managing institutional stability during periods of uncertainty. And uncertainty was becoming an increasingly important factor in the royal conversation. Not because of any confirmed crisis, not because of any official dispute, but because public speculation itself had become part of the narrative. The more commentators discussed internal dynamics, the more audiences searched for clues. The more audiences searched for clues, the more every gesture attracted analysis. The result was a feedback loop that transformed ordinary royal moments into subjects of extraordinary scrutiny. Have you ever noticed how quickly assumptions can become accepted wisdom when enough people repeat them? That phenomenon may have been influencing the story more than many realized. Meanwhile, King Charles III faced a unique balancing act. As reigning monarch, King Charles III remained responsible for presenting unity, continuity, and institutional confidence. Regardless of private discussions or public speculation, King Charles III needed the monarchy to project stability above all else. For centuries, royal institutions have survived precisely because they understand the importance of appearing larger than individual disagreements. But could that strategy still work in the age of 24-hour news cycles and social media analysis? That question was becoming increasingly difficult to answer. Every photograph was uploaded within seconds. Every appearance generated immediate commentary. Every narrative faced instant challenges and alternative interpretations. The environment surrounding modern monarchy had changed dramatically. And yet, despite those challenges, the central mystery remained unresolved. Why had one ceremonial event generated so much fascination? Why had so many people become invested in the symbolic meaning of a single royal appearance? And why did the conversation continue growing rather than fading away? As the evening approached its most important moments, many observers began reaching the same conclusion. The real significance of the story was never about jewelry, seating arrangements, or ceremonial traditions alone. The real significance involved what those details revealed about public hopes, public expectations, and the future image of the royal family. And then, just when many believed they understood the narrative, another development shifted attention once again. Because after the cameras stopped flashing and the official proceedings moved forward, royal commentators began examining the reactions, the photographs, and the aftermath. What they found would open an entirely new debate about influence, legacy, and the monarchy's next chapter. Before we continue, if you enjoy thoughtful discussions about Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, King Charles III, Queen Camilla, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Buckingham Palace, and the future of the royal family, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss future royal documentaries. Because in the final section, we examine what happened after the event, why the conversation refused to disappear, and how one evening ultimately became a larger discussion about legitimacy, public trust, and the future of the monarchy itself. By the time the state occasion finally unfolded before the world's cameras, something unexpected had already happened. The conversation was no longer centered on a single tiara, a single photograph, or even a single evening. Instead, the discussion had evolved into something much larger. Royal commentators, constitutional observers, and longtime followers of the monarchy were now debating a far more consequential question. What had this entire episode revealed about the future image of the royal family itself? As guests arrived beneath the bright lights and international photographers captured every angle, Buckingham Palace achieved its most immediate objective. The event projected elegance, stability, and continuity. The ceremonial traditions remained intact. The diplomatic meetings proceeded as planned. The carefully choreographed presentation of royal duty appeared seamless to millions watching around the world. Yet beneath that polished surface, a different narrative was beginning to emerge. Because when the photographs started circulating across newspapers, television broadcasts, and digital platforms, many observers noticed a recurring pattern. Once again, much of the public conversation seemed to gravitate toward Catherine, Princess of Wales. Whether discussing Catherine's presence, Catherine's composure, or Catherine's symbolic role within the institution, audiences appeared increasingly fascinated by what Catherine represented rather than simply what Catherine wore. And that raises a fascinating question for viewers. Has Catherine, Princess of Wales, become the figure through whom many people now imagine the monarchy's future? Some royal commentators believe that is exactly what has happened. According to those observers, Catherine, Princess of Wales, embodies a combination of tradition and modernity that resonates with audiences across generations. Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, increasingly appear together as a partnership preparing for responsibilities that extend far beyond ceremonial appearances. However, not everyone agrees with that interpretation. Other analysts argue that public enthusiasm can sometimes create narratives that become larger than reality itself. From this perspective, audiences may occasionally project future expectations onto Catherine, Princess of Wales, simply because the transition from King Charles III to Prince William represents one of the most anticipated developments in modern royal history. So which interpretation is correct? Is Catherine, Princess of Wales, genuinely becoming the defining public face of the monarchy's future? Or are royal observers reading deeper significance into moments that were never intended to carry such weight? The answer may ultimately depend on something much larger than any single event. Because the modern monarchy exists in a media environment unlike anything previous generations experienced. During the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, public perception moved relatively slowly. Stories developed over days and weeks. Today, narratives can form within minutes. A photograph can circle the globe before an official event has even concluded. A single image can spark thousands of discussions, each offering a different interpretation of the same moment. That reality presents both opportunities and challenges for Buckingham Palace. On one hand, figures such as Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, benefit from unprecedented global visibility. On the other hand, every appearance becomes subject to intense analysis, often extending far beyond the intentions of the people involved. Have you ever wondered whether modern royals spend as much time managing perception as performing duty? That question may become increasingly important in the years ahead. As King Charles III continues shaping the current reign, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, continue moving toward a future that many believe will define the next era of the monarchy. Meanwhile, discussions involving Queen Camilla, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and the wider royal family continue to influence how audiences understand the institution's evolving identity. And perhaps that is the most important lesson from this entire story. The real significance was never confined to a single object, a single rumor, or a single evening. The real significance was the extraordinary level of public interest surrounding the future of the monarchy. Every conversation eventually returned to the same central theme. Who will carry the institution forward? Which figures best represent continuity? And how will the royal family adapt to a rapidly changing world while preserving traditions that stretch back centuries? Those questions remain unanswered. And perhaps that is why the story continues to resonate long after the event itself has ended. Because while the photographs have been published and the headlines have moved on, the larger debate remains very much alive. The future role of Prince William, the future influence of Catherine, Princess of Wales, the legacy of King Charles III, and the evolving public image of the royal family will continue generating discussion for years to come. What do you think? Has Catherine, Princess of Wales, become the strongest symbol of the monarchy's future? Or are royal commentators placing too much emphasis on symbolic moments that may not carry the meaning people assume? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this is one of the most fascinating debates currently surrounding the royal family. And if you enjoy thoughtful royal documentaries exploring Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, King Charles III, Queen Camilla, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Buckingham Palace, and the future of the monarchy, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us for our next discussion. Because in the world of royalty, the most revealing stories are often the ones still unfolding.